I need to set this out. Like, let's be very clear about this, okay? I had nothing to do.
No, you got her fired. You totally got her fired. Come on, man.
But I didn't. I had literally nothing to do.
I'm pretty sure you did.
So I'm gonna say this again. I had literally nothing to do with Carrie Wheeler resigning as CEO of Opendoor.
This is Industry Relations, a podcast at the intersection of real estate and technology from an insider's perspective. Sponsored by Cotality. Stay tuned to learn more with Rob Hahn and Greg Robertson.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Industry Relations with Rob and Greg. This is your host, the notorious ROB, and of course, as always, my amazing co-host, the fabulous Greg Robertson.
Hola, Rob. Ooh, yes. That's
I know.
So fantastic.
I mean, you're a celebrity. You were just in my town, doing a fabulous keynote speech.
Yes.
From what I understand.
The Las Vegas Realtors had their MLS Tech Forum, which they do every year, which is a great show that Stephanie puts on, and I was invited to be the morning keynote, and I think Nick Bailey did the afternoon session, but I wasn't able to see him. But I had a great time.
And happy birthday Wednesday.
Thank you, Sonny.
We're recording. We're recording right now.
I know.
Okay.
Hey, listen, our ratings just went up, Rob. I wouldn't.
I know, seriously. We should just have her dance.
Yeah,
in the
exactly.
background or something.
We'll see if the view count goes up. But no, it was. I'd been working on the presentation for a while, and it's how I have to explain to you. You do this all the time, also, and it's just we're used to.
Not as much anymore.
But doing those,
people are terrified of hearing the truth.
But it's great when you kind of think about what you want to say, and then I practice it, and you kind of whatever, and then you get to do it, and it got a great response. So I'm like, and then plus, I think part of it I could use it in my next presentation. So you have some built-in evergreen content for the next few months. So I'm happy. With it.
Yeah. Is there a video available?
I don't know. I don't think there's a full video. I think Lauren Hill was in the audience. Stephanie's daughter, who was she recorded some video. I can put. I haven't put all of it out there, but there's that. So maybe I'll do that. But we'll see what happens.
All right. Because I would like to criticize and argue with you, but I haven't seen it, so there's nothing.
Well, we talked about that at lunch a little bit. You would definitely have a lot to criticize about the thing. But my talk was about the power of cooperation. So, yeah.
Of course, yes. We'll have to do like a live show one day and talk about that. But speaking of criticizing, there's some news going on, and. I need to set this out. Like, let's be very clear about this, okay? I had nothing to
you
do.
got her fired. You totally got her fired. Come on, man.
But I didn't. I had
I'm pretty
literally
sure
nothing
you did.
to do.
I'm pretty sure you did.
So I'm gonna say this again. I had literally nothing to do with Carrie Wheeler resigning as CEO of Opendoor. That's other far more powerful people. Specifically, I'm thinking this guy, Eric Jackson, who's a big activist investor. I just wrote the post, put it up, and then like day later, the announcement comes that she's resigning. So I think we're going to talk about Opendoor a little bit.
Yeah.
And here's the thing. Like, I've never met
I think
Carrie.
both of us has been.
Yeah. But go ahead.
No, I think both of us have been, as you say, pretty much, bulls on Opendoor, on iBuying itself. So I don't,
Right.
for you to, both of us are stockholders, right? So
That's right. I still am.
I'm gonna,
And I'm nowhere near
you and me both. You and me both, buddy.
my losses.
The funny thing is that when it was down to below $1 or like $1.01, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to buy just a shitload and just dollar average myself out, right? So like, really?
Yeah.
It's I've got my average now is only $2, and I
right.
should have done that, but it's like when that
Yeah.
never want to catch a falling knife either, right? I didn't know where it was going.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And I just hadn't paid any attention, and that's actually the context here, right? Like, I don't know if you and I ever recorded a show on Opendoor.
No, I think it's just been part of our, just talking about like tech and everything. Yeah.
But I mean, I know we've talked about iBuying, but I think it was in the context of Zillow, not Opendoor. We would mention Opendoor in that context, obviously.
Yeah, you might be right.
But vaguely, what I remember was when Zillow exited iBuying, right? I remember we had a conversation vaguely, and by saying something like, "This is not some big financial thing. This is Zillow operationally screwing up,
Right?
Right?" And Opendoor had not, But then we really hadn't talked about Opendoor really ever, right? So, and I hadn't thought about them for like 4 years.
Right.
Years. Yes. It's ever since the stock price started creating. I haven't thought about Opendoor for years. And then, so here's the context in case anyone doesn't know. There's been a really big push, right, among what people would call, quote, retail investors, right? So for most public companies, the biggest investors are not individuals, right? They're hedge funds, they're pension funds, they're these big institutional investors who go in and they don't invest in a company, they take a position in a company. That's measured in the tens or hundreds of millions of dollars, right? And there's this one guy named Eric Jackson who heads up a big institutional fund. He's a big shareholder, and he's been agitating for like changes, right? Basically, it's like Opendoor super undervalued. It was a penny stock. They were about to get delisted. And then he got this like army of retail investors.
Diamond hands.
Exactly. No, that's exactly what this is like reminiscent of GameStop.
It's a meme stock. It became basically a meme stock.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And all these like random internet guys started pushing Opendoor like on Reddit and Twitter and whatever. And everything kind of took a different spin because there's a guy, Anthony I think you say Pompliano is his name.
Yeah.
He's a very, very large, big crypto influencer and crypto investor. He's very respected in that community, right? So he came out and was like, I'm buying Opendoor. I believe in Eric Jackson. I believe this is really undervalued. And that triggered another wave of like, rawr, right? And before she resigned, she had agreed to go on.
Before you got her fired. What was that? Sorry.
Before she resigned, right? Before Eric Jackson took his scalp, she had agreed to go on the Pompliano podcast. He has a very large podcast with like millions of viewers and subscribers, right? Which is not this podcast. Okay, so once again, I had nothing to do with this. And then, obviously he stepped down, and I think there's a new guy, Shri Shah, I think is his Twitter handle, who has been named as kind of the interim CEO. And that's where we're at, right? And Eric Jackson, I believe, is taking a victory lap and talking about how, Opendoor is super undervalued, and with the right execution, they could completely change the way the homes are bought and sold. So that's the context. And I think maybe the place to start is, do we still believe in iBuying?
Yeah, I mean, I read your article, which, it got somebody fired, so it was well done.
All right, fine. I have that much power.
And, and then some of the comments on there, right? I mean, I forget the first, it was Tyler, I think, right, that made the first comment. Yeah. And he was like, kind of bullish. Oh, Carrie knows what you're doing. Just, follow the plan, blah, blah, blah. And then it's like, whoopsies. That went south really quickly. Is iBuying still? Yeah, I think in the other comments, I think in a ZIRP, a zero interest market, maybe because it is very capital intensive.
Right.
There's a lot of, as we say in this business a lot, it's a very emotional sale, right? So it's really hard for sellers to kind of, they've got an anchor point somewhere where they got it, whether it was Zillow or somewhere else. But, one thing that was weird to me is like, weren't they like making crazy offers? They weren't lowballing at all. I heard in some, during the time, they're actually at market or a little bit above market while they were doing it, right? And I think they were just trying to get some market share, and they had all that money that was at a zero interest rate. Yeah. I mean, but they ran into the same problem that all these PropTech companies do that come out are going to be disruptive of the space. And what I like to say is, I've said this before on the podcast, is like all these companies who come out to disrupt come running back to mama. And what does that mean? They come running back to the agents because they somehow in this business, and I'm here for it. It's, people want that trusted advisor. They want that handholding. They want an agent. And so far nobody at scale has been able to disrupt that. Now that's might be the holy grail of still that's out there that nobody's cracked it. But man, I mean, iBuying to me seemed to be the one that could do it. It's all about a convenience play. You're paying a little bit more for the convenience of not having somebody come trap through your home or whatever. And we've had all these arguments, you and I, of like, who wants that? To me, it's more of like rich people whose time is valuable. It's just I don't want to deal with anything. I'll take the offer. Let's go. To, people in distress with there's not a lot. I mean, is it viable? I don't know. It doesn't appear to be so. I don't know if anybody's really cracked that code yet. I mean, Opendoor just keeps on regurgitating this agent play, this agent partnership play. They over and over again they announce a new agent type of partnership, but this whole pivot they were doing to kind of be a lead generation, a seller lead thing, that's just nuts. I mean, I think you called it out correctly in that. That's nuts.
Yeah. So I don't know. Like, so that's.
I would like it to be. But I'm not sure it can be.
I mean, I don't know either, right? At this point, I thought iBuying would be the difference maker, right? That these companies would come in. And my specific criticism, I guess, of Opendoor and of Zillow is that they came in saying they wanted to be market makers and then ran their business like they want to be flippers. Whereas OfferPad came in basically wanting to be flippers at scale, right? So I've always thought OfferPad's like, I mean, I get it, but I don't, right? Because I've never flipped a house. I don't know. I understand you could make a lot of money doing it, but it's also extremely expensive and very, very risky, right? But with Zillow and Opendoor, I thought the whole premise was that they don't want to be flippers. They want to be market makers. And I have a quote from when I first wrote up Opendoor, like years and years ago, with Keith Rabois, who's like the kind of the godfather of the whole thing.
It was his idea, I thought, right? Yeah.
Kind of, yeah. Around the idea of Project Home Run. His whole thing was like, there are market makers in every other two-sided marketplace. Stocks, bonds, commodities. There's always market makers. So why can't we have a market maker in housing? I thought that was the idea. And using all this algorithm and tech, it just gets you to a price, and then Opendoor, somebody with like billions of dollars would go in, take a position, meaning like we'll buy it from the seller at at one price, and then immediately turn around and sell it to a buyer for a slightly higher price, right? I thought that was the business, right? And then it turned into, no, we need to buy it from the seller and then like refurbish it. I'm like, that's flipping. That's not market making, right? So, but that's a generic, sort of criticism. I don't know why no one's ever really done that. I thought for sure Zillow would have done that, but they didn't. Opendoor didn't do that. I don't know why. Maybe they'll change things, but instead they went to all these other like weird angles, right? Like the agent thing, the cash plus product, which is a new thing. There's buy with Opendoor. There's all these different attempts without doing the fundamental market making thing, So maybe one of the things is that residential real estate, does not need and cannot have a market maker. That might be one possibility. Right. Maybe that's the case.
Why? Is it just because it is such an emotional decision that it's hard? I mean, people probably don't get as emotional about stocks and whatever. I mean,
probably. I don't know. Like so I'll give you
or is it the inertia and let's call it out. Is it because organized real estate has a monopoly on this, and so far they're fucking undefeated, right? I mean, is it that?
Could be. I don't know. But so let's walk through this. Like one of the ideas that I had, and when Zillow first got into this iBuying thing, so Opendoor starts up, and if you remember the first version of Zillow, they weren't going to become an iBuyer, right? They were just going to connect iBuyers to
marketplace,
sellers, right? But then after that, even under Spencer Raskoff's leadership, they became an iBuyer. And one of the things I remember Spencer saying in an earnings call was that Zillow has like 25,000 emails of people who register on Zillow and they say, hey, if a 3-bed, 2-bath in this price range, in this zip code comes up for sale, alert me, right? They still do this. Like you go sign up for
save
alerts.
searches.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. And what Spencer said was, we have like 25,000 people who requested to be notified when this home shows up. So for Zillow, it was very easy for them to go, hey, we're about to buy this house for 400. To send out a blast email to 25,000 people. Are you willing to pay 404,000 for this house? And if they get enough responses that say yes, then you buy the house, right? Like almost like a simultaneous close. Does that make sense? Yeah. It's like, okay, you agreed to buy this house for 405,000. We're gonna go buy the house for 400,000. Due closings, boom, right? Like, I thought that's what they were gonna do, right? Instead, what it became was randomly go out and buy this house, right? Like, basically speculative, and then put in like $10,000 to put in new paint, new carpet, cleaning, the whole thing, which is this massive labor-intensive thing, and then put it on the market. You know what I mean? Which to me, that's house flipping.
Yeah, but go back to your original premise, right? Which is, okay, let's say I'm 100% in for a 2-bedroom, 2-bath condo that I'm ready to buy, right? I sign up for the, I get an email from Zillow. We have one. I'm assuming they'll show me what it is. And it's,
sure.
Would you buy this for $445, right? Or $445, $100,000.
Right.
Okay, well, this is what I want. Well, is that the right price?
Right. But here's the catch.
Is this exactly in the neighborhood I want? I mean, it's like there's still amount of friction, not like a stock, right? Stock is like,
sure.
Well, I can look at 5 years trailing. I know I understand this. Sure. Boom. Right. There's just a lot of more things to like just saying yes.
Well, here's the kicker. The kicker is the house is dirty.
Yeah.
Right? The carpets are old. There's nothing's been refreshed. Okay. The paint is whatever. Maybe there's, like it's like somebody's house that they've lived in, right? It hasn't been staged. Nothing has been done to this house.
Yeah, that's even more of a thing, right? Yeah.
Right, because the whole premise, the whole value proposition for the seller was, you don't have to deal with any of that. Right? Just sell to us, we'll cut you a check, and then you move out.
Well, that's that's a value proposition for the seller, but not for a buyer.
For the seller, right. Correct. But here's my point. So to the seller, say, fine, you know what? Maybe you could get $500,000 for your house. Maybe, right? Like if you were to go through the traditional process, let's say the CMA, which Greg Robertson's, has mastered and perfected, right? Says this house is worth $500,000, right? The seller basically gets an offer from Zillow saying, we'll pay you $450, $460, right? You're going to take a 10% haircut, right? Yes, you might be able to get $500,000 for this, but then you have to do all the things. You got to stage it, you got to clean it, you got to blah, blah, blah. Your agent's going to sit with you and say, hey, listen, this house is worth $500, but you're going to need to replace the water heater. You're going to need to maybe fresh coat of paint, something, right, to get it ready for sale, right? And that homeowner says, you know what, fuck it. Just give me $460. I don't want to do any of that, right? That's the value proposition for the seller. Okay, I'm Zillow. I'm Opendoor. I bought it for $460, right? I go, how much money do I need to make? I need to make $10,000 in the sale. Hey, Mr. Buyer, would you like to buy this house as is, not clean, not nothing, for $470?
Right.
Why didn't that work? Why didn't anyone even try that?
Right.
That's my question. Why didn't it? Because if I'm like young couple, blah, blah, blah. Because here's the advantage of saying, yes, I will buy this house for $470, okay? There are no longer any fiduciary duties involved. Right? There's no agent whose job is to maximize the amount of money that the seller could make. Opendoor is a company. They went and bought it. They paid $460 for it. Opendoor says, hey, we're happy with making $10,000. We'll sell it to first person that raises their hand and says, I'll pay you $470. Done. Right? No agent has to then say, well, let's keep it on the market for another 2 weeks. Let's see. I'm going to market it here, there, whatever, and I'm going to try and get you the most money. Like, all that's out the window.
Right.
So from a buyer standpoint, there's no competitive bidding situation. There's none of that. You want to buy this house? It's 470. Say yes, boom, done. Right? You're not getting another phone call. Hey, there's a competing bid that came in and you need to do better. None of that. It's just 470.
The first one that raises their hand or puts their fucking check
Correct.
in or whatever.
Correct. Yeah. Now, and obviously, no individual homeowner is ever going to do that.
Right.
Right. But now we're talking about a company that they're not individual homeowners. They have zero emotion about this house. This isn't the house where they raise their family. It's none of those. It's just an asset that they bought for 460. They would like to make 10 grand on it or 15 grand or whatever the number is, right? And they'll sell it to the first person that says, we will take it at 475.
Again, it all comes down to market forces too, because in your scenario, there have been, for a lot of times there, think about 2022 and 23 maybe.
Yeah.
A seller put it on the market as is, no contingencies, and it sold in 7 days. I mean,
that's right.
There was no need. There wasn't a need for that type of product because the market was so hot, and in some areas probably continues to be, that value proposition doesn't really hold a candle because they're going to get, all that kind of stuff without.
They're going to get top dollar. Absolutely. Right. But in order to get top dollar, they still have to get the house ready for sale.
Sure. But a lot of cases, some agents tell me it's like, as soon as we put this on, this will be on the week. We'll get 4 offers the first weekend and blah, blah, blah.
Fine.
Right?
Fine. But Greg, how many houses have you sold?
Two
in your lifetime. Did you enjoy it?
No.
The process sucks ass. It's terrible.
It's almost as bad as buying a house.
I think it's worse. I've sold 3 houses, I think, right? And every single time it was just this major hassle and life disruption. Major. I still remember our house in Texas, we sold it, and we had it staged and everything. Like, we couldn't sit on the couch.
Right.
And like every time we have dinner, we have to clean up like it's the fucking, lab.
Yeah, or 15 minutes late, I got a showing in 15 minutes. Can you get out of there? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And then I got to put the kids into the minivan and like drive them around for an hour. It was such a negative experience, right? That I felt like if instead of that, somebody had come in and says, you don't got to do nothing, but your house is worth 500. Will you take 460? I might have said, yeah, give me the 460.
Yeah. Well, but I gotta believe. I heard the Opendoor ads on the radio. I saw them on TV. I think people know what that's about. They tried to do that, and they didn't get enough people wanting to do it.
They didn't get enough people, right? However, that's not why Opendoor lost money.
Well, I think if they would have got more customers, they would have, that would have helped.
The problem with Opendoor, frankly, to me, was that they had inventory and then they couldn't sell it for as much as they were thinking. Or there's this holding cost, there's this time period, there's all this work you got to do, right? So I guess my point is, and I'm still puzzled by this, so the only thing that kind of makes sense to me is the possibility that as a buyer, if I walk into a house, I want to see it, right? And it's dirty, it's messy, whatever, it's dated, it hasn't been updated. I just say I'm not going to buy this. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can't, quote, see the bones, right? Doesn't matter if my agent's like, no, this house has really good bones. Coat of paint is like whatever, right? Couple $100, right? You're getting this amazing deal. This house worth $500, you're getting it for $475, right? With no competing bids. Like, just take it and then spend $10,000, $20,000 on, redoing the paint or the carpet, right? Because again, keep in mind, Opendoor and Zillow were not going in and doing major renovations. They were not doing that, right? It's not like they were buying a house and then we're going to put in a new bathroom. That's not what's going on. They were putting a new carpet, coat of paint, cleaning, right? And that was it.
Yeah. We should have, I guess part of it is you could see this coming. I remember when Zillow was talking about how they were offering both, right? Buyers would come in or sellers would come in and they would say, okay, 2 things. I could do a CMA for you. You can talk to an agent and we have this offer. And I remember Errol saying at some meeting, it was like mid-90s were just do the CMA. Right? I mean, that's what they wanted to do. They didn't. I mean, they used it as kind of a lead generator for sellers leads, right? But when it got down to it, whatever, and who knows if they skewed it or anyway, but I think for whatever reason, the sellers said, no, I want to go to market with it. Right. So whatever,
which is fine.
So maybe what we're kind of not realizing is that the TAM, the total addressable market for this, is a lot smaller than we think. Most people want to maximize the amount of money they're going to get from the biggest asset they have. And that it might be as simple as that. It's like it is going to be a niche case for for some people, but a vast majority, mid-90s, are going to want to go through the process no matter how difficult and how arduous and how whatever it is, because they want to get the maximum value of the biggest asset they have. That's probably right there, the whole fucking Megillah right there.
No, it can't be. It can't possibly be. It can't be. And here's why. Zillow, when they launched iBuyer after Opendoor, right? To your point, Errol came out and said, look, 90% of the requests we get. Because again, let's think about the process here, right? Some homeowner has to go to Zillow or go to Opendoor and say, request a bid, right? What will you give me for my house? Like, you have to start there, right? 1 out of 10 will say, okay, that's acceptable. I will take your offer. 9 out of 10 says, nah, that's lower than I thought I was going to get. I will just go sell it with an agent.
Right.
Right? What Errol said was like, we're generating 90% of those as seller leads. What's more valuable in the real estate industry than effing seller leads? Nothing. Right? And Zillow already at the time had Premier Agent. If they went to the Premier Agent and said, hey, I have a seller lead for you, it's 40% referral fees. Every agent would have raised their hand. So I don't think Zillow was losing money on selling seller leads. Well, right? Where Zillow got murdered was they went and bought the house. Right? They spent billions buying houses. And then
all the math didn't work because the market would shift.
The math didn't work.
In different areas. Correct. Like, holy shit, we're upside down here. Yeah.
Correct. And because they had to spend like 30, 16, I can't remember, some number of days to get the house ready for sale. My question is, why get the house ready for sale? Is it because buyers will not buy a house if it's not, quote, ready for sale? That might be the answer, right? It might be the answer. The answer is, okay, here's a starter home. Opendoor went in and paid $350 for it. It's worth $400, right? And they say, it hasn't been cleaned. Nothing's been done to it. Do you want it as is, $360? And buyers were like, let me go see it. They go see it. It's dirty, whatever. There's like, whatever. Do you know what I mean? It's dirty. It's messy. The carpet's all dated. And they're like, nah, I'm not paying $360 for this. Is that what happened? Like, that has to be the answer.
I think it's both sides. I think there's a ton of sellers that didn't want to go through the process because they want full market value on the biggest asset they have.
Yep.
And on the buy side, they want more turnkey, right? I mean, that's not such an unusual thing for a buyer to want. When you have those two forces together, it's just there's not enough meat on the bone for a business to kind of operate, right? This episode is brought to you by our sponsor, Cotality. CoreLogic is now Cotality. Same trusted technology and data, just with a new name that reflects their mission to unify property professionals, strengthen industry relationships, and drive innovation globally. Cotality powers tools you already know and love, like Matrix, the gold standard for MLS systems. There's One Home for agents who want to give their clients a more personalized collaboration experience. MLS Touch keeps you connected to the MLS no matter where you are. Realist gives you the insights to stand out as the local expert and tools to fill your funnel with high-value leads. The new One Homeowner platform keeps you top of mind and delivers value long after the deal is done. Learn more at Cotality.com. Our thanks to Cotality for sponsoring Industry Relations. So I thought that the Cloud CMA iBuyer Connect thing would be a lot more. I just thought we'd get a lot more people doing it. We did get a lot of people making the offers, but and the buy box is pretty small, to be honest. But agents who used it loved it, but we didn't get a lot of agents actually using it.
Sure. But again, here's my whole process flow in mind, right? Some seller raises hand, goes, how much will you give me for my house? Okay. Knowing knowing that they're going to get underbid, right? Like,
Okay.
they know that. Opendoor, Zillow, I think would both be honest, be like, would honestly be like, hey, we're not going to offer you full market value, right? Because there's this convenience fee, right? We're going to get you close. We're going to make an offer that's worth your while. But if you want the most money, list with an agent, right? I think both would say that, especially Zillow. Okay. So they start out with, with this thing, right? They're going to underbid. Everyone knows it. The agent's going to say they're going to underbid the whole thing. You underbid. Okay, the seller says, no, thank you. I'm going to go list with an agent. Cool. You list with an agent. Like, done. And now Opendoor or Zillow, they have a seller lead that they could sell for a bunch of money, right? And then everything else is just traditional, right? I think we all understand that. Okay, fine. So 10% of the time where the seller says, that's good enough. I don't want to deal with anything. I'll take that offer, right? And I actually just looked up, I asked Grok, like, what's the median price of like a starter home, right? And it came up with like in the just in the Fort Worth area, just because it's one of the highest, fastest growing metros, right? Apparently, it's a median price for a starter home. It's like $300,000.
Wow.
That's very reasonable, right? And maybe it's like an older couple, whatever. Maybe they bought it 10 years ago. They paid $200 for it, so they're like, you know what? And Opendoor comes in and says, we'll give you $280. We'll give you $270. Okay, it's worth $300. We'll give you $270. Seller says that's good enough. I paid $200 for it. That's fine. Just so I don't have to like put up with any of this nonsense. So I say yes. Okay, now Opendoor has bought the house for $270. Okay. Now we can forget about the seller and their motivations. The only thing that matters now is the buyer and their motivations, right? And what I could never understand was, okay, you bought the house for $270. Now you're going to send in your teams to like fresh carpet, new paint, some minor repairs, fix leaks in the bathroom, whatever it is. And my question always was, why? Why not immediately turn around and say to a buyer, hey, everybody, we just bought this house for $270. Okay, we haven't done a motherfucking thing to it. You don't have to say $270. If you want this house before we've put work in, you can have it for $280. It's worth $300. You can have it for $280. I feel like there's a whole bunch of young couples out there like, that house for $280? Done. I'll take it. And then we could fix it up over time, right? Because housing affordability is a real fucking problem. I don't understand why no one did that. And the only explanation I could come up with is that somehow buyers refuse to look at a house or buy a house that isn't like perfectly staged and beautiful. You know what I mean? Like, is that it? Because I don't understand it. Because here's what you can do. Once you put in the work, you know what? No one's buying it. Okay, we're going to schedule workers, right? Once we put in the work, now we got to sell it for $290. Now we got to sell it for $300. Why wouldn't buyers say, fuck that, I'll do the work, sell it to me for $280? It feels like a win-win-win across the board, and no one has done this. I'm not aware of any company, including Opendoor, that has done this. And my question is, why not? Right? Why not?
Yeah, I mean, again, it could be as simple as, and you said that it should matter, but I think it's really crux to it. It's that there wasn't enough inventory to do it that way. I mean, on the other side, let's just talk about, again, acquiring these listings, acquiring these houses. It's like there wasn't enough sellers willing to take that low offer, even if it was as in no convenience, because, again, this is the biggest asset they have, and they need to get as much out of it as they can. Mm-hmm. And they are going to, unlike, again, maybe you or I, we're highly mobile and we're going to move places, and time is of the essence. Time is money to us. A lot of people are like, time is not money for them, right? So it's like time is money for them, where I'll sit and wait so that I have that time to get as much money out of this. I just don't think there was enough on the acquisition side to really fund this whole thing. On the other side of it, though, you're right. So if they just said, because I think the brand, to me, Opendoor, was like, you were going to get into somewhat of a turnkey house. It wasn't the brand of said, we buy houses cheap, you do the repairs, you save.
Sure.
Right. That would have been the value proposition of what you're talking about.
Right.
That definitely was not their value proposition.
No, it was
right?
not. Right.
Right. So it still maybe remains to be seen of if somebody wants to kind of pivot to that thing. I just don't think. I think that that's worth a shot, but I still think it's very difficult to acquire those houses in the manner that they want to acquire them, because people are just willing to do the work or they're willing to sit and take time to get the best.
I get it, and I get your point. Here's the thing: if that were the case, then neither an Opendoor nor Zillow would have had to get out of the business. Because if you don't buy a house, guess what you didn't do? You didn't spend any money.
Right.
So this whole capital light, capital heavy thing it's irrelevant because you didn't buy the house. The seller didn't want to sell to you. The whole capital requirement thing becomes a thing only because seller says, sure, I'll take that offer. So you wrote them a check for $270,000. Now you're in that house for $270,000. And that's where the whole capital heavy and then the big losses, like you're in it for $270,000, you put another $20,000 worth of work into it, and you can't sell it for $300,000.
Right. Well, it remains to be seen. Even at your thing, it's like you think, okay, maybe we want to make $15,000 off the house. Is that? I mean, it's yet to be proven whether they can pull that off too without having to put expenses in there. Right.
Don't know. And
Yeah.
Right. So that's the question, right? And I came with that 15,000 number because as I was doing research for the number, it looks like contribution profit per home per transaction that Opendoor did do was about $15,000.
Right.
I'm okay, if that's your contribution profit, then to me it's like we buy for $270,000, we schedule it for work to be done. You know, think of it this way, it's like the ultimate coming soon. Okay? It's like, hey everybody, coming soon, this house.
Well, they
Right.
have Opendoor exclusives, right? I mean, they've had their because it was there,
Correct.
right?
It's theirs.
They didn't have to buy. They didn't have to abide by any MLS rules,
That's right.
right?
So, but I'm saying they could have just gone out with coming soon. This house is going to go on the market on September 15th. Okay, and the list price will be $300,000. However, if you buy it now, before we've done any work, you can get it for $285,000.
Yeah.
My point, Greg, is if Zillow and Opendoor did that, I have never seen it. I've never heard of it.
Yeah.
So I could just be wrong, and we're about to get somebody from Opendoor come out, reach out, and say, "You're smoking crack." That's exactly what we did, and we didn't have enough takers. Then that's the answer, right?
Right.
That's one thing.
It's like everything else. It's probably a combination of a lot of things that we don't understand. Because the other part about doing it is like, you know, why they're going to agents is because they realize the agents have the
relationships, yeah.
the relationships
Yeah.
of the buyers,
Yeah.
right? So it was hard to get relationships outside the buyers. It might be more difficult now that agents have early on have them sign a buyer agreement, right? So
Sure.
that they're kind of locked into that. So it's hard for them to acquire any buyers that are not locked in with agents too, right?
But that doesn't make any sense to me because, again, one of the things I pointed out over the entire time that Opendoor was in existence, right, was that Opendoor always offered full comp. Always.
Not always. It was like 1% or something like that. Yeah.
That was on the listing side. And then
Oh,
during the pandemic years, I remember they dropped it a little bit because it was crazy, right? But the entire other time, the reason why agents did not rise up and, you know, condemn the shit out of Opendoor, there was never like a blacklist campaign, right, against Opendoor, was because they were paying full compensation. So
There was a little bit of backlash with Opendoor. Yeah, there was.
I don't remember
was.
anything like that. I don't remember
It
anything.
was they were because they came at it as what you said is like in like what Keith had said, right? We're gonna somehow get the agent out of the transaction, but they quickly shifted. I mean, Redfin famously was gonna, do that. So it's not like,
the listing agents were threatened by Opendoor, of course, right? But like Opendoor they're members of every MLS that I'm aware of, right? And what the Opendoor broker, I've talked to a bunch of them, and they were like,
Zillow's a member of every MLS, and there's a
right,
lot
but
of Zeta
Opendoor
rates still.
specific was like, we fully cooperate and we fully compensate. Right.
Well, I think I mean, again, I was in this kind of thing, and I just still remember it didn't make any sense. But there were a lot of people, a lot of agents that were like not because they didn't fully understand it. It's just hate. I mean, just
Okay.
fear, right?
Maybe, but so what I'm saying, I think what I'm getting at is Opendoor, the way they did it through the entire history, they didn't really need to go kiss ass with agents, right? Because it wasn't like any agent wasn't bringing a buyer to an Opendoor property. Because the agent knew if I bring a buyer to the Opendoor property, I'm going to get paid the full compensation, right? And in fact, man, like, I'm not going to name the MLS, but there's an MLS I did some consulting work for, and I looked at their compensation. This is before all of this, right? When you had to put in the compensation amount and say like what the compensation amount was. And it wasn't always 3%. Some agents, some brokers would be like, 2.5%, 2.25%, 2%, right? They would offer that out, put that into the MLS. Opendoor, 3% across the board, right?
Another problem.
So there's no reason for any buyer agent to be like, I'm not bringing my buyer to this, right? So that's why I'm like, you didn't need to do any of this stuff. So this pivot that they're talking about, what is it called?
Cash Plus.
No, but the one before.
Key partnerships.
Key partnerships, key connections.
Key connections, yeah.
But I'm like, for as long as Opendoor existed, they went to the agent and said, listen, if you bring us a seller and they buy, they take our offer, we'll pay you 1%.
Yeah. Okay, so, you've gotten Carrie fired. Now, we have this stage now. We want to give advice, and I think I'm based on our conversation, I'm seeing three things that Rob Hahn and Greg Robertson
there we go.
want the new CEO to focus on.
As biased shareholders.
As buyer shareholder, yeah, we're in.
We're biased.
I'm in the 20s.
Right.
Okay, so just so you know.
Right.
All right. Number one, forget the carpet paint. Just you're going to buy them and you're not going to do a damn thing with them. I need you to do a home inspection, of course, but that you're not doing anything with them. Okay. Number two, you're still going to offer full compensation to buyer's agents.
That's right.
Right. So yes, we're going to keep them happy. Number three, I'm going to say it's four. You're going to have your own exclusive listing sites, like a Coming Soon Plus that like you control, that people sign up for to get the best deals before it goes anywhere else.
Opendoor.com. Right? Yep.
Opendoor.com, right? Number four, we got to change the whole marketing message of Opendoor to be like, it's not we buy ugly houses, because that's more, it's in that realm though, right? It's like the whole thing about we buy ugly houses is like we buy ugly houses and you buy them ugly, right? So, but more in that kind of vein of like you go to Opendoor because they bought these houses very quickly that you can get into for a discounted rate because we've done nothing to them. They've got to change the branding to reflect more of that as is kind of vibe to it.
Not necessarily. So like I said, it's a combination of 1 and 3, I guess, right? Opendoor's brand is, you come in and buy this house, hassle-free, right? Hassle-free. Here's our list
Sell
price.
your house hassle-free, buy the house hassle-free.
Right. Sell your house hassle-free, buy the house hassle-free, right?
Okay.
If you want, do you know those, I can't remember the name of the automotive dealership. A True Car maybe? But there's an automotive car dealership that went out and made a big hoopla of no negotiation.
Yeah. That was Saturn back in the day.
Yeah, Saturn back in the day. But there was like a dealership, big national chain, right? Because one of the things they said was nobody likes walking to the dealership and then like trying to haggle and negotiate. So they were just like, True Car pricing, what's on the sticker, that's the price. Period. End of story. So Opendoor could be like, the list price is the price. The first person to raise their hand and say, yes, it's your house. Right? Convenient, easy, right? I'm going to have a wrinkle to that. To the seller, here's our offer. Take it or leave it. If you leave it, we'll sell your information to an agent and you can list it. And we're going to make money on the sale of the listing. Sale of the seller lead, right? Straightforward. Hey, here's the thing. We think your house is worth whatever. We're offering you $270. We think your house is worth $300. We're offering you $270. Well, that's a lot of money to leave on the table. Would you like us to introduce you to an agent?
Right.
A lot of sellers are going to be like, okay, but I don't have to do anything to it. I could literally just move out. I paid $180 for it, 10 years ago. Fine. 270 is fine. Right? Cool. We have a deal. Here's a check. 270. Please move the fuck out 48 hours.
Right.
Right? Okay. In between the coming soon, you go to Opendoor coming soon section. Big old coming soon section, Opendoor. Because again, it's your house.
Yeah.
Right? You're not subject to all this other fucking rules, right? So you go, here's the house that's coming soon. It will be listed at 300 when we put it on the market. If you buy it for the next 14 days, you can get that house for 285.
Right. Yeah.
Right. Now, here's the wrinkle that I've been advocating forever. So here's the advice to the next CEO of Opendoor. Okay. Seller finance the fucking thing. Okay.
Oh, wow.
You have a
Interesting.
mortgage company. And I've said this for years when Zillow did. I was like, I think the real plan here is mortgage.
Is that you have to do seller financing
Yes.
through them if you buy it?
Yes.
Okay, right on.
You
All right,
must.
I'm with
You must finance through us. But here's the kicker: we're going to approve everybody. Bad credit, no credit, doesn't matter. Okay, we're going to approve you.
Well, I'm not sure about that.
Why?
Okay, they don't have a job, and
The house?
huh?
Do you want the house?
Well, I mean, if I'm lending money and you're saying to me I have to give it to anybody, I'm not in. Sorry.
It's seller financing. There's no lending money.
Oh, seller financing.
Seller financing.
So not Opendoor, but the seller previous.
No, Opendoor.
Okay, so Opendoor has to lend money to anybody
But think about it. It's not lending money.
because they own the house.
We own the house. You're just going to give me a monthly payment.
Right.
But it's a loan, right? It's a loan,
Right.
right? So
Maybe, sure. I mean, yeah, maybe.
it's a fucking no-brainer, right?
I don't know if it's a no-brainer,
It's
but
a
I
no-brainer.
get you. It's a nice wrinkle.
It's a no-brainer. Here's why. Now you say that mortgage that we just gave you, seller financing, we're going to do a couple things to it, okay? One, we're going to make it assumable,
Okay.
which means that seller 10 years out says, I'm going to sell this house, right? But interest rates have doubled. Now the buyer's like, hey, man, do you want my mortgage?
Yeah.
It's portable. It's assumable.
Right.
Dude, that makes that.
Well, the
incredibly
appreciation
valuable.
would still be there, but yeah, no.
On top of it, that makes your house, when it's time to sell, right? It makes it incredibly attractive.
Yeah.
Right? That's one.
Agreed.
Two, here's why. Two, really, this is the thing. And I just never understand this. I'm Opendoor. I went out and bought and sold 25,000 homes, let's say, right? That means I have 25,000 seller financing mortgage notes, right?
Right.
Package them the fuck up and sell it as a mortgage-backed security.
Yeah, no. I mean, if you're starting to do it, you're basically a mortgage company at that point.
At
so.
that point, right?
Well, I mean, you're adding some wrinkles because they have to take them on as assumable, and everything
Sure.
else. So that's adds some wrinkles to
Sure,
that.
but
right?
all the fucking brilliant Wall Street guys that work at Opendoor could figure that shit out. It's not that complicated, right? But my point is now you're taking cash in
right,
because you're selling the notes, right?
Right.
Package them up. And here's the best part of this:
I like it.
if I'm a mortgage-backed security investor, right? I would much rather buy Opendoor notes than I would Wells Fargo notes. You know why? Opendoor can foreclose like this.
Right.
Because
Well, not if you sell it to a bank, right? I mean, then you're going to
No, the note. I sold a note, right? But if comes time to foreclose, banks are like, we don't want to foreclose, okay? Right? Because
But if you sell those loans and package them off then Opendoor doesn't really own them anymore, right?
True,
So they
but-
can't foreclose.
no, but you could be the servicer, right? And foreclosure, because the thing is, then the note itself, right? The asset that's securing the note, it becomes problematic, right? My point is, Opendoor banks don't want to do it because banks are not in the real estate business, right? Like if I'm a bank, okay, think of it this way: think about Jingle Mail.
Yeah.
I'm a bank, right? The mortgage, the guy says, you know what? I'm not paying my mortgage, right? Here's the keys to the house instead. I'm Wells Fargo. What the fuck am I doing with the house? right?
Opendoor knows exactly what to do with it.
Bingo.
Yeah.
If I'm Wells Fargo, I have to go hire a real estate agent, be like, hey, I have this foreclosed property. Can you please go sell it?
Yeah.
If I'm Opendoor, like, oh, you can't pay your loan? Foreclosure. We'll take it back.
Yeah.
Right? And then we're going to resell it because we know how to do that.
Yeah. The other thing, I like that. So whoever's the next CEO listening has got, these are great ideas. I got another one.
Okay.
And this is going back to the, like, as is, right? We're not doing paint. We're not doing whatever.
Not doing shit.
There's an inspection report. Not doing that. But here's the disclosure. What's going on?
Here's the inspection report that we did when we bought it.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So there's a service, the Quick Fix, guy named Jeremy. I think he's in San Diego, where you basically just send him the inspection report, and then his AI and his team send back a contractor with a price.
Sure.
Right? So you could just automate the whole thing. Like, okay, here it is. And also, oh, by the way, here's, if you want to get these things done, we've already run the report for you, because he doesn't care. He's,
Right.
he wants as many things as possible in there.
Right.
And, a contractor really set up to go if you want to do it that way.
Sure.
Right? It is a true kind of marketplace where you're just making things happen around it.
That's right. That's right.
I like it.
I
We're geniuses, Rob. They should put you in charge. You should be
They
the
should.
CEO.
Opendoor, hey, if you want me to take over as CEO, you know where to find me, right?
Right
It's
on.
a
Okay.
fucking
I'd
no-brainer,
like to see
and I
it.
don't
I'd like to
even
see it.
understand it. So hopefully they're gonna do something like that, right? Because it's like a win across the board. It's a win-win-win,
Yeah.
right? Because imagine this: the
I'm
whole
holding
premise,
diamond hands on the stock now, buddy.
That's right.
These
The
are
whole-
some gold ideas. Diamond hands.
the whole
Diamond hands.
premise now comes down to this. Remember, it was like sell your house and close in 48 hours. That was like the initial marketing pitch when Opendoor first went out, right? And we were like, close in 48 hours? Are you nuts? Like, what are you talking about, right? Because this is like, real estate closings are 90 days,
Yeah.
right? Opendoor's like, sell to Opendoor, close in 48 hours. We're like,
Yeah.
that's impossible. And then we dug into it. Oh, no, it's really possible. If you have a buyer that comes in and goes, we're waiving everything. Here's a cash check.
Yeah.
Just sign here. Its title is now transferred. 48 hours later, it's done, right? I was like, that's crazy. Okay. On the buy side, buy this house, close in 48 hours.
Yeah.
How is that possible?
Yeah.
Well, because all you have to do is sign on this bill of sale and sign at the seller financing mortgage. Now, here's the thing. You don't need to go ask a bank. You don't need appraisal. You don't need shit. You just need to sign your name on the document, and Opendoor's like, done.
Yeah.
And oh, by the way, it's less than full market price.
Right.
They would be the number, like, it's a no-brainer.
Yeah. I mean, so much of their value proposition now is just, we're going to buy the home quickly. But I think everybody has to understand the brand is more than that, right?
Yeah.
And that's going to be part of the challenge.
Yeah, and fundamentally, I know you need to go, but fundamentally, it's this. Okay, so we'll close with this. Hey, whoever's the new CEO of Opendoor, because it's not
Bob Hahn is going to be the
I know it's
CEO.
not likely to be me, but whoever's the new CEO, here's the thing: you have to stop being house flippers,
Right.
because that's your business model now. Stop being house flippers and start being market makers, a true market maker, right? It ends up being capital light. It ends up being capital light because the capital flow now goes like this. We wrote a check for $270. 6 days later, we have a mortgage contract for $285. Okay, we made $15,000 profit in there, and we're gonna take that $285 mortgage contract, package them up, and have Goldman Sachs do an MBS offering. Boom,
Boom.
capital light, baby.
Yeah. I love it.
So let's end there. Anyway, once again, I had nothing with Carrie Wheeler resigning. That's Eric Jackson. But if you need advice
The
from
timing. I mean, if you look at the time zone.
I know. But if you need advice from two guys who really understand this industry and are your shareholders and would like to see our shares go to like
Reporting for duty.
$1,000, you know where to find us. Thanks for listening. Let's yammer.
Thanks, everybody.
I'll talk to y'all later. Bye, y'all.